And we've now made it to the summary. At the end of every one of these lessons, there's a nice little summary, which has got a little paragraph of what we had focused on. But what I like to do if I'm with somebody else is kind of ask what's a takeaway that you had from working through this lesson. Do you want to go first or second?
I can go first. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm reminded of is thinking about, what are the principles underneath what we do. And so, for example, Scott had given 3 examples of clients moving from, for example, from the control to the fear practice, from the input output or speaking to written as well, when we kind of look at the output side, and moving from that, we start with situation, but also the meaning, and then getting to the form later. And when we think about as well, you're reminded to think about, well, why do we do those things? So, for example, with the last one, the form, we don't always pay attention to the form right away, because if we're strict on the form, sometimes that inhibits students from taking chances, because they're worried about making mistakes, not getting things right, and so on.
Right. I think for me, there were a number, and it's so rich. I mean, if you click through this by yourself, it's almost you got to slow down and think, because there's so much stuff that we've talked about in this past, I guess, hour or so. One of the big ones that follows for me is this PPP and the 3 different parts of the lesson. And in my worst teaching, I probably did 48% of the lesson on the first P, and 50% of the lesson on the second P, and 1 or 2% on the third P. So I guess as advice to a teacher is think about, the more you can increase the third P, that the students are confident and comfortable enough with the grammar point to be able to produce and personalize it, the more of it's going to stick. And the added bonus is the more you're getting to actually know the students, because of knowing their experiences and opinions. So I'm not going to say it should be 30, 30, 30, but just finding out what it should be. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's really important to remember too, because in the private language school that I worked at, I'd say in the top 10 complaints from customers would be if they didn't get enough opportunity to use the language in the third P. And that would be more common with beginning teachers. So if you know that from the outset, yes, time management is crucial.